So, I mean, like Sarah said, that doesn't even cover your emergency room bill.
Yeah.
Especially not on a motorcycle, because
Yeah.
you're going
These are
most likely
catastrophic
to the
things.
trauma unit when
Yeah.
you're on a motorcycle.
Which is another thing people don't think about, because in one regard you're thinking, okay, I'm going to get $25,000, so like that's still something, but you're like, well, no, not after you take everything out that you owe.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
or consider the future. You know, what does your life look like? It's not just those bills, but it's after that. Did you have surgery? Do you need physical therapy?
You were out of work. You continue.
Or
can't do
are
the
you
job that
permanently
had
disabled
before.
forever? It's
Right.
it's not enough.
So I have my first ASM class coming up, so I can't speak on it yet, but I know all three of you have been involved. What is the feedback that you get from those?
Oh, they
love it.
They love it.
I've never had anyone regret it.
Matter of fact, we had a police officer that we're friends with come and take it. We didn't know until afterwards, and he said, Amy, he'd been in an accident, a motorcycle accident. He said it was, the most eye-opening, most rewarding class I've ever taken, because I could have died and had people not been there who knew what they were doing, had taken this class before. I probably wouldn't have been in the best, the situation that I am, where I'm walking and be able to work. And so to him to be able to ride and have the knowledge to be able to help somebody was like invaluable.
Yeah.
And it's hands-on. It's not like we're sitting here and it's just theory and it's boring class. I
Right.
mean, it's hands-on. We're on the ground. You're going to put a helmet on and learn how to take a helmet off.
huge-
Everybody's going to get a chance.
Body dummies.
We're going to learn all those different things.
Wow.
And the day goes by very, very quickly.
Well, and that's something really, for something else you would spend a lot of money to take, and here you are sponsoring this for them to take for free. So, I mean, really, it's something everybody should definitely do.
Yeah, and we partnered with Road Guardians, Vicky up in Wisconsin, and she's who started the Road Guardians and these whole ASM classes for years now. And we're the exclusive person from Myrtle Beach and Charleston to be able to teach these, and we're glad to do it. And again, we want to teach everybody.
Yeah.
Now, in regards to the insurance, if you don't want to take the class, you just want to say, hey, am I covered? Am I exposed?
We'll do that
We
too.
do free insurance policy reviews. You can call me anytime, me, Amy,
Or if you're out riding
Sarah,
by our
anybody.
office or
Yeah.
right off London Street,
We'll
which is
take a look at it,
South
and
Crescent,
I can tell you if you're exposed or not. Because again, like you said, or like she said, there's this full coverage myth, and it's truly a myth the insurance industry has put on everybody just to sell insurance. And if you're exposed and you do fall or you get in a catastrophic injury, as Sarah said, you're going to be limited to the insurance. That's it. You can't get blood out of a turnip.
You can't count on somebody else.
Yeah.
Somebody else's policy, because it's just not going to be
Right.
it's not always what you think it is.
Yeah, those are good tips. Well, let's talk about, single rider versus double rider. Are there different rules that apply to those kinds of motorcycle accidents?
Well, here's what you need to worry about. And a lot of riders, especially their family members, these cases involve death cases. Okay, a lot of them we see, and they'll lose hope and think, well, he just lost control of his motorcycle. Maybe that's what the highway patrol writes on the report. Okay, but there's two areas of the law that we've been investigating, and one is a faulty helmet. Okay, so did the deceased die as a result of a head injury, and can we secure that helmet and maybe pursue a product liability case against the helmet? The second thing that we're looking at is with this construction boom that's going on, especially down here at the coast, is these road contractors are building asphalt roads, widening roads, repaving roads as fast as possible, okay? And there could be ruts in the road. We call those longitudinal joints, okay? Which are fine if you're in a car. You go over, you don't even feel it. But if you're on a motorcycle and you hit a rut that's not supposed to be there or is not properly warned of, I mean, you could lose control of your motorcycle and you're done. You're toast. You're laying the bike down. And so we're looking at, and then there's a potential case against the DOT, potential case against the construction companies. So don't give up if it's a single motorcycle crash. Obviously, if there's another at-fault party, we'll do an investigation and pursue against the at-fault party. But these single wrecks or single motorcycles are what we're looking into.
Okay.
We also see times where we'll have you'll see this wreck and the rider has been hurt terribly and is ventilated, things like that, and it'll come to light when they come to weeks later that they were actually hit by another vehicle and it was a hit and run. So these are the kind of things that we're constantly thinking about, that other attorneys who don't do these kind of motorcycle accidents we're always thinking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we got to get our investigator, boots on the ground immediately,
Yeah.
try to gather surveillance video, try to find any witnesses that we can to prove our case, to prove that hit and run.
Because memories fade, and we try to preserve, like if we know that witnesses are there, we go hunt them down, our investigators get out there and preserve, their statements and get them recorded. That way, time fades, memories fade, and people move. And so we've got to secure all that stuff as quickly as possible.
Yeah. So, I always like to kind of get your advice and tips for people. So, what would you say is some advice for motorcycle riders if they get in an accident or maybe preventative, anything like that?
Well, what I would say is, if you can, take as many pictures as possible. Okay, and if, of course, if you're unconscious, you can't do that. But take as many pictures as possible of the scene, of your helmet. Keep your helmet, keep your clothes, keep it all, so we can preserve that evidence. Don't give a statement to the at-fault insurance company. They're going to be trying to lock you down to be used against you later. And at that time, you don't know the full extent. Your adrenaline's still pumping. You don't know your full extent of injuries. We've had several cases where they call us a week later. That's when they realize, oh my God, I got a slip disc in my neck. Well, they're just now, the whiplash and the inflammation's wearing down to get a proper X-ray and MRI to even diagnose things. Now, if you go to call the insurance company and give a statement, say, oh, I'm fine, or I got a little soreness, well, that's what they're going to use against you through the whole lit. It's going to be really hard to settle your case.
And if you're riding with somebody that's been in an accident, start documenting it for them.
Right.
Take pictures. We actually have a client that we are friends with, and we always we're always driving home, get pictures of everything. He got into a really horrific motorcycle accident, and he, in the shock of everything, his foot is only hanging on by an Achilles tendon, and he grabs his phone and says, "I've got to get a picture of it." Just until we get a picture of it, takes a picture of his leg before he goes unconscious.
Oh my gosh.
It is
We've seen all kinds of crazy
picture,
stuff.
but yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So definitely document everything that you possibly can, and if you're with somebody, get that documented for them.
And increase your underinsured motorist coverage on your policy. That's probably the best thing you can do for you and your family. And I have this conversation all the time because people are like, well, I don't want my rates to go up. They look at insurance as like it's almost like a tax, like you're getting punished and you have to have it. But really, it's a service, and you've got to do yourself the service and increase that, especially if you're riding a motorcycle, because $25,000, the state minimums is not going to be enough. Even sometimes $100,000 isn't going to be enough. So protect yourself.
Yeah.
As much as you can afford, put it on there.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't look at it as a punishment. Look at it as a protection that you have for yourself.
And your family, yeah.
Yeah, man, so much good information. Well, thank you guys all for talking about this. Of course, you guys can find more on the website, Justice is Lovely. Also, there is another Carolina Justice Report story all about motorcycles, some tips as far as not driving alone, right? So Amy
Always
talks
ride
about
the pack.
that. Also, some maybe juror bias. I know Justin has spoken about that with motorcycles as well. So you can check that other story out on YouTube. You can also find us on other social media outlets, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all that good stuff. We would love to hear from you as well. Thanks for watching today.
When life gets ugly, justice is love.